And good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to UndercoverET. Guys, we've got a massive video for you today, a mixed bag, if you will, and some scary stuff as well. Apparently, they have found a biological lab in a home in Las Vegas. So we're going to look at that. Crazy stuff. Really dangerous stuff that's been found there as well. Can't believe it. Can't believe it's not breaking news all around the world, but there you go. We're also going to look at some instantaneous acceleration from a UAP captured from a military camera in Syria 2001. Really interesting. And also we're going to go over some other clips as well. Brett Burleson's also been interviewed, and apparently the DoD has been ordered to release and find as much information regarding the UAP files as possible. So I feel like this is going to be the next batch of files to be the next big thing, guys, and I feel like Trump is building his way to some kind of disclosure, some kind of announcement. He just needs to have more information before he can do that. So I think it's going to happen, guys. I really do. As always, like and subscribe to the channel. We do need your support. Support the public's evidence. Support disclosure. Let's go. All right, so Bridget Gabriel says this should be the #1 story. Investigators found thousands of vials of blood and tissue, genetically engineered mice designed to carry COVID. Tests showed the vials contain COVID, hepatitis and malaria. Investigators linked the lab to the CCP. Let's have a listen to the report, guys. That's crazy.
New at 2, we're half past the hour. A possible biological lab inside a Las Vegas home, now under investigation. A federal investigation. Agents seizing vials of unknown liquids and probing a potential link to a Chinese national accused of running a similar lab in California that held deadly pathogens. Our senior national correspondent William Lajeunesse is reporting live on this out of Los Angeles for us. Hello, William.
Well, Sandra, two amazing things about this story. One, the man who owns that Vegas lab, he's a Chinese scientist linked to the CCP, is and has been in jail the last 3 years. Secondly, the lab is not an FDA licensed facility, but it's in a house in Vegas, raided Saturday morning by the FBI, SWAT pulling out boxes of what police believe are hazardous biological agents and pathogens normally found in a secure university or industrial lab with airlocks designed to prevent an outbreak.
Almost immediately, investigators observed multiple refrigerators, a freezer, and other laboratory-type equipment, along with numerous bottles and jugs containing unknown liquid substances.
So the Vegas lab, according to police, belongs to 62-year-old Zhu Baiju, a Chinese national and a fugitive who also goes by the alias David He. He was arrested in 2023 for manufacturing unlicensed medical devices and lying about unapproved HIV and pregnancy test kits that he was selling. He also operated this illicit biolab in an abandoned warehouse in Reedley, California, where investigators found thousands of vials of blood and tissue, 1,000 genetically engineered mice designed to carry the COVID virus, and CDC tests did show the vials contained HIV, COVID, hepatitis, herpes, and malaria. Police arrested Zhu, and he's been in jail ever since. Congressional investigators linked the lab to the Chinese Communist Party, a tie that also suggests the same people are behind the Vegas lab.
We think these people were doing with those substances in the house. And I'll tell you, the truth is we don't know yet.
That's insane. That is insane. Literally, Chinese guy in the middle of America, and one slip could just create chaos, absolute chaos for the country. I can't believe that's not breaking news across the world. That's massive. All right, Mario Norfolk says this: White House is backing UFO disclosure. Rep says Trump told DoD to grant access to sites with alleged craft, bodies and archives. The White House has told the DoD to make it happen, to Trump's credit, as a disclosure. Wow. So like I said, I do feel like Trump is laying all the pieces for his announcement now. He's trying to gain as much evidence as he can so that he can put it towards world leaders and to say, look what we've got, look what we found, this is what we're dealing with. I feel like it will happen, guys, based on everything that's been happening, everything we're seeing. The fact that we're talking about it right now, as much as we are, times have changed. Let's have a look to see what Eric Burleson has to say in this short clip.
One of the asks that I've put into the White House, and I think that they legitimately are trying to make happen, is a series of visits to some of these locations, right? Like I have obviously been given throughout this investigation locations that where it's reported that that these materials or objects or craft exist, or the bodies exist, or the archive exists, and we have that's where that sits. We've given the DoD a list. So the White House has told the DoD to make it happen. I mean, to Trump's credit, as a disclosure. So that's the extent at which they've been involved. Is literally just saying to the Department of Defense that, hey, Burleson, we're backing his request. Do what you can to make it happen. And so I'm very grateful for that. It's been very difficult to make happen.
You still got some obstruction.
Yes. So we still, I mean, it's got to go all the way down to the end of the fingertip level. And so but at the top of the DoD is doing what they can to try to organize this. And it may have to be slimmed down at the beginning. So one of the first, right now we're looking at following all of this process to have at least just myself go to one site. And at least that's what they're asking. And then once we see that process work and have figured out the path, then we'll repeat that to the other locations and include other members of Congress. But at this time, to do a scaled down visit is what we're looking at. And eventually we will go to Area 51 as one of those locations, although really just for nostalgia. From everyone that I've spoken to on this topic that has any kind of information, they say that that's not where the goods are not there. So there's a lot of neat things to see out there. And I think for just, I think it's just completing the whole puzzle. It's something that we definitely have to go see. But I've been told that that's not where you're going to find the evidence.
I'm loving what he's saying. If anything, I want to be a fly on Burleson's shoulder, because it sounds to me like he's going to get first dibs on having a look at all this stuff if they can make it happen. And the top of the DoD chain are going to be pushing for this to happen slowly but surely. But you know what? If he gets in there and gets to see some stuff in a month, maybe in 2 months' time there'll be another group of people go and have a look. Maybe by June we'll have a movie, and maybe by July we'll have Disclosure, folks. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But I feel like that's what's going to happen. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. All right, so before we get onto the military instantaneous acceleration video from Syria 2021, I do want to share this one with you. UAP Skywatch Signal says this: UAP secrecy could trigger geopolitical escalation, warns member of the European Parliament. Fabio De Masi joined the Sol Foundation's symposium in Italy this past fall to discuss how UAP secrecy may stem from and contribute to geopolitical tension between great powers and their allies. Sol wishes to commend De Masi for his entry into the UAP conversation, a move that further expands the space of parliamentarians who take seriously this once marginal topic. Already well known for his work in the European Parliament on financial transparency and democratic accountability, De Masi has recently stressed the importance of serious coordinated investigation into UAP. In this talk, he discusses the increased risk of international conflict that stems from the lack of data sharing between states. And this is where I was touching on this recently. I know that when one country does eventually come forward, there'll be a whole bunch of countries saying, look what we've got. And this is what it's all about. If we can just bridge these countries together to get talking and share information, we could make this world a better place so fast, guys. But the tension is what keeps it all under wraps, right? It's what holds it all back. Let's have a look at what this professor's got to say.
There's espionage going on, and that Russia may be behind some of the sightings. But as a matter of fact, even the Danish authorities said we cannot explain all these cases. So that's a very dangerous moment, because we know in a geopolitical context like the current one, there's a big incentive to use intransparency and limited knowledge to, for example, feed the interests of escalation. And if you think about the whole problem that for decades states have been trying to solve in nuclear politics. So how do we establish lines of communication? How do we prevent misunderstandings? I think the same applies to UAP, and that's why greater transparency is a contribution to preventing war and escalation, in my view. And I'm a great supporter of a policy of détente, which is not a majoritarian view in the European Parliament. I condemn the war in Ukraine, for example. I think it's an illegal war. However, I do think the history of it is a little bit more complex than maybe it is being told by some head of states that are like NATO members. And I do think that we need these kind of protocols to engage with also in the field of UAP.
Well, let's unpack some of what you're saying there, because I think there are a few points. One is that you're saying lack of transparency between states, lack of information sharing, not only between adversaries but allies, can be a pretext for escalation, or it can be a condition of escalation. But you're also saying that we're in a new, whether we like it or not, we're in a new kind of multilateral geopolitical era, in which we have much more multilateral relations. It's not a polarized world geopolitically, and the transparency issue becomes even more important then, because it can never be as simple. Wherever we are on Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which of course I'm deeply opposed to. You're saying pragmatically, realistically, different kinds of relations are necessary between states that we didn't think so, that we didn't think were necessary 5 years ago. And transparency plays in there. So maybe you could say more about that.
Yes, I think that if you look at the historical development that we witnessed in the last decades, let's say of modern day capitalism, shifts of power have always, or very often, been associated with military conflict, whether it was the change from the Dutch early financial centers to London. There was the Dutch Anglo War, then you had like later the shift from the UK to the United States. Now you have US and China, but with much more technological capacity, much more capacity to destruct. And the UAP issue plays into that, because if you think about UAP reverse engineering programs, whether these are matter of fact or whether this is, like a narrative being, put forward, the mere fact that a country might possess superior technology changes the geopolitical order, right? It can lead actually to dominance. And I think we try to prevent these kind of constellations and misunderstandings even during the Cold War by establishing something like a red telephone. And if you think about the Malmström incident, just to come back to that example, you want to prevent a situation where maybe something is happening which is beyond your own control, and your adversary might interpret that as a preparation of an attack or something. So these questions become important. Then, secondly, I think there's also an airspace safety issue, which is very fundamental. And I've been first proposed to work on that topic by a Dutch organization called the UAP Coalition Netherlands, which works with pilots, for example, that simply say we have observations that we want to report.
This guy, what he's just said there is bang on the money. And I've touched on this in the past. Other countries will likely have their own technologies, guys. And the moment they start talking about this, there'll be a shift in power, guys. If they've got something reverse engineered, they can use to defend or attack another country. Let's just say that a country in like 15th place in the world in terms of, wealth and technology and stuff, stumble across UAP technology, which enables them to completely own the world, right? Because they have the power to do so. They go from like a position of like no threat at all to the top threat. If they can control the airspace and invade any airspace they wish, they're pretty much going to be in the top two, right? That's what he's talking about when he's talking about a shift in power. And the UAP topic does dive right into this, because reverse engineering non-human intelligence equipment, stuff that's hugely more advanced than what we have, That's what it's going to be, guys. That's going to be the top end, right? So this is why the Jeffrey Epstein files actually link to UAP, because the stuff that he was looking into, the people that he was talking to, know about this stuff, know about these biological weapons, know about the warfare and the developments that are going behind some of these things. Because these things are being developed, it kind of shapes the future, and then people invest in certain areas. And what you end up with is just a load of money grabbing people keeping a secret that could actually fix the world if we did a proper job. Spoke to our allies and our enemies, potentially, and just got together and said, look, every single piece of technology that we've developed that's come from UAP, we need to put on the table, because not one country is going to be able to take over. We shouldn't allow it. We shouldn't allow one country to have so much power through this technology. We should probably spread it out so that there's no tension. This sort of technology, guys, we need to spread it out, because if one country suddenly comes out with this amazing technology that can move rock across the ocean so fast that it could create a wave so big that it could wipe out a city, that would be a problem, guys. I'm telling you, it needs to be rolled out, regulated, and we need world peace in order for this to happen. Because the technology is so powerful and it could change the lives of everyone around the world, I feel like that's the only way it could actually go. It's either going to be destruction or it's going to be a lot of peace, guys. That's the way I see it. And I'm hoping for the lot of peace section, because the destruction thing just wipes out everything we've ever learned and known. Let's hope. Let's pray. Let's see if we can bring about disclosure in the most peaceful way possible. Don't know. 50-50. All right, on to Joe Mergia. He's posted this one. Here's the new pretty cool UAP video. What's your thoughts? Instantaneous acceleration? If so, it is the first time we've really seen this in a military video. It's from Weaponized YT page. In 2012, an MQ-9 Reaper drone, while patrolling the skies over Jordanian-Syrian border, caught a glimpse of an unknown object. The controller of the sensor platform eventually managed to get a lock on the object, but when they did, the UAP seemingly mocked the high-tech Reaper and displayed astonishing speed. Akin to instantaneous acceleration, one of the 5 observables used by our military to identify genuine UAP. Military aviators have described similar acceleration they've seen with their own eyes. Now, for the first time, video recorded by US intelligence operatives of a genuine UAP displaying mind-boggling acceleration is being made public. Let's have a look. All right, Syria UAP 2021, apparent instantaneous acceleration. Let's see. Lock on, lock off. This is just another one of Jeremy Corbel's dodgy videos, isn't it? So, this I really can't stand the military grade, but it is what it is, right? To me, it looks like it's already on the move. Now, it speeds up here. It goes extremely fast here. But it's already on the move and then speeds up. It is quite hard to see the instant acceleration. Instantaneous acceleration would mean it's either stationary and just zips off at 75,000 miles an hour instantly, for example, or 25,000 miles an hour, or 10,000 miles an hour, or 2,000 miles an hour, even 500 miles an hour. Instant acceleration would mean from stationary to that, or traveling at, say, 30 miles an hour and then instantly going to 200 or instantly going to 1,000. That would be instantaneous acceleration. Very difficult to pick up from this video because the object is moving. There's no point of reference. I'm not understanding all the figures on this right hand side, I'm not going to lie. Oh, I see. So this is slowed down. travels up. That's now, if that's shot off to the right, leaving this trail here, then that's instant acceleration. That's what I would be expecting to see. Just slow movement, or you know, whatever movement that is, and then instantly boom, gone. That would be instant acceleration, yeah. Apparent okay, clip X, okay. Let's see. This is 50% speed. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And you can see how it goes from this ball of light to just a very thin streak and nothing. And that is what you would see if an object, no matter what size it was, went from 0 to like 20,000 miles an hour. It would just be gone. It would look like a blur. Also, we don't know whether this thing is solid or whether it's sort of like a plasmoid. That would also make a difference to how it would look moving off. But yeah, this sort of speed it exists, guys. It exists. And that Wales clip that I always overlay and show you guys, that shows the white objects flying up the screen, and the objects that it's firing out, it's firing them out at this speed, guys. It's going so fast, unless you slow it down by like 10% or less, you don't really see the objects leaving the white object itself. You don't see those little orbs firing out, but they are firing out, and they're firing out at stupid speed, guys, stupid speed. Again, with this clip, military grade, you're not going to see anything tiny zipping out from this object. You're just not. Maybe you'll see like a blip, you know, zipping through the air. But if this thing has probes, or if anything's following it or working with it, and I guarantee you it probably isn't alone, a camera like this would struggle to pick up those objects because they are moving so fast. And the only reason why the camera is picking up the instant acceleration on this clip is because they're looking at a larger object in question. They're monitoring it already in flight, and then they capture the instant acceleration. Now, if this thing was just zipping past as fast as what it appears to be there, thousands of miles an hour, this camera wouldn't have picked it up. That's the facts, guys. That's the facts. And that's all it takes. If you think about it, that's all it takes. These things have only got to fly faster than our cameras and eyes can handle, and we wouldn't know. We just simply wouldn't know. Amazing stuff. Yeah, it just disappears like that. And that's why it's hard for the brain to comprehend. You really have to analyze this stuff. And that's why we say, guys, pull up the evidence that we show you on a big screen, slow it down, analyze it properly. You'll see what we mean by speed. We've got point of reference all over the planet. So speed is there. I've seen objects moving like that through the air. Simply put, it looks good. It does look good. And yeah, hopefully they're going to come out with all of this eventually. Something a little bit clearer. You know, I'm sure they've got 4K that they're just sitting back holding on to. But I'm sure that they will come out with something a bit clearer. If they're going to convince anyone, they're going to need something a little bit more clearer, so that people can fully understand what they're looking at here. But super fast, super fast. And guys, just want to add, that object that you saw there, however big it was, there's no guarantee that that's the size of that object. It could be a lot larger than that. Crazy, huh? Yeah, I know. We're going to leave it there, guys. Quite a lot of information to take in. So I hope you enjoyed that one. As always, like and subscribe to the channel. We do need your support. Get that evidence into me as well. UndercoverETUK@gmail.com. And guys, I've just had an email back from the people that are doing the design work for my hoodies. Yeah, it's looking sweet. It's looking sweet, guys. Embroidery. It's going to look pretty cool. So yeah, guys, I can't wait. I will let you know what the hoodies look like as soon as they arrive. I've just got to approve the artwork, which should be today. And with that, guys, thank you so much. Take care. All the best. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye for now.